Good. Pan across it, boom. Stay. Alright. Let's face it, video games are bad. They promote violence, they make people lazy, they create antisocial zombies. And worst of all, they turn our children's brains to mush. We all agree with that, right? Mm-hmm. Video games are becoming an ever-growing part of our life. According to the NPD group, the video game market brought in over $19.7 billion in the U.S. alone for 2009. And $21.4 billion in 2008. Our military now uses real-life simulated video games in order to train the soldiers. Did you know that pilots that fly the planes use flight simulator software? If video games are so bad, then why are they everywhere? What do? How do we protect our children? Now, some people are going to tell you that the way to protect your children is don't let them play. Keep them preoccupied with other things and keep them away from it. But the secret to protecting your children from video games is to let them play. Don't try to stop it. They're going to play whether you want them to or not. They're going to do it without you knowing, and you're not going to have any control over it. So it's better to actually watch them and supervise than to have them sneak it. And one cool thing about video games is, as young as 3, there are video games out there for them. Now, the Entertainment Software Rating Board, the ESRB, has a rating system, which makes it very easy for picking out video games for your children, depending on their age group and everything like that. It has early child development, the early childhood, which is EC. It's got E rated for everyone, E rated for 10 and up, teens, mature, 17 and plus, adults only, and for games that aren't out yet, that haven't been rated, they do have a rating pendant. Now with this right here, you're never going to see a game on the shelf with the RP on it, because the fact is they're not going to release it until they actually have the rating system. One other cool thing about the rating system is if you look on the back of any video game that's released anymore, there's a little block down here, okay, on each and every one. It will actually tell you why it's rated that. Such as this one says mature, and the reason why is because of violence. And even if you look at this game right here, it says it's rated E for everyone, but there's comical mischief in there, so you kind of want to watch who you're letting play it. Now, how do we make sure children are playing the appropriate game? Of course, you do want to monitor your child. Limit their game time. Don't allow the video game in their bedrooms. And require them to do homework and chore stuff before they actually get to play. Another good thing that you could do with them is actually play the video game with them. There's a lot of things with the video games, co-op modes, things like that. Another really good thing that you want to do when you're playing games with your children is ask them what's happening in the game. Make sure you understand what they think is going on, and that way you'll be in the same mindset as them. Choose the games wisely. Make sure you do use the ESRB. Okay? And video game sites. There's so many review sites out there. Explain why certain games are not okay as well. Obviously, you don't want your child that's 7 years old playing a first-person shooter, very violent game. Explain it to them. Tell them, hey, you know. Another good thing that you need to do with your children, though, along with video games, is to step away from the games. You don't want to play video games all the time. Encourage them to go outside. Encourage them to make friends. You know, do other things. Take them out, play laser tag. Now, are video games actually socially acceptable? One of the problems is people think gamer, nerd. Not true. Surrounding people will talk about video games several times within a day. If you get your child into video games at an early age, It'll make it easier for them to interact with those people and not feel left out. Now, what can video games teach your child? Well, Mary Landon, in the document 9 Reasons to Let Your Kids Play Video Games, actually says the things that your child will learn will be pre-reading skills, creativity, logic, teamwork, history, science, math, sharper memory, and hand-eye coordination. So there's several benefits for actually playing video games. Health concerns is another big issue. Health concerns, play video games, obviously, it's going to affect you. Well, actually, playing video games burns 3 times more calories than just watching TV. And then you also have the cool new Nintendo Wii that came out, which has very interactive games where you're sitting there and you have to actually play the game instead of just sitting there. You actually get physically involved, which encourages you to have fun but also has you sweat a little bit. So are video games safe for your children? Yes, they absolutely are. You can let your child play without the fear of them being affected. Remember, as a parent, it is your job to monitor. The ERSB helps greatly in selecting games that are appropriate for your child. Common sense is also a big help here. You shouldn't let your child play Grand Theft Auto 11 if they're 7 years old, obviously. You just ask them for trouble that way. 97% of our nation's teenagers play, and 83% of our nation's children are playing video games. So why aren't you letting your child?